Hey, coin collectors and curious folks. Imagine walking into your local coin shop or sifting through your change jar and discovering that one tiny penny, just one, could be worth a whopping $1.3 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's not just a dream, it could be reality if you've got the right coin on your hands. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1996 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, you'll want to stick around for this one. So, grab your magnifying glass and your favorite snack, and let's see if that penny you just tossed in the drawer could actually make you richer now. You might be wondering, how is a simple 1996 penny worth that much? Well, buckle up, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes it so valuable, how to spot one, and why people are willing to pay a fortune for this tiny coin. Spoiler alert, it's not just because of Abe Lincoln's iconic beard, alright? Let's start by breaking down the basics. First, we need to understand how coins become valuable. It's not just about age, it's about rarity, condition, and sometimes, a little bit of luck. Take the 1996 D penny. It's a coin you see in circulation all the time, but here's the kicker: there are a few rare ones out there that are in such pristine condition or have an unusual error that they're worth big bucks. But let's get to the meat of the matter. You probably have a 1996 penny in your pocket right now. Don't rush to toss it in a jar just yet. The regular 1996 D penny is worth just 1 cent, obviously. But if you're lucky enough to have one of the mint condition versions, or one with a rare error, that's where the magic happens. We're talking about a coin that can go for over $1 million. So, what makes this penny so special? Well, in the case of the 1996 D penny, it's typically about the condition. Collectors look for a coin with as little wear as possible. We're talking about something that looks like it was just minted yesterday, not a penny that's been sitting in your piggy bank since the 90s, covered in scratches and dents. The higher the grade, the more it's worth now. I know what you're thinking. How the heck do I know if my penny is in mint condition? Great question. Here's the secret: get a magnifying glass. Seriously. You'll want to inspect the coin's details. Is Abe's face still sharp? Can you make out the words on the coin? A well-preserved penny with crisp details could be worth thousands, even millions, and speaking of rare errors, there are a few things to look out for. Sometimes, minting errors happen, no, not the kind where you forget to add the milk to your coffee, we've all been there. We're talking about things like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or even misplaced mint marks. If your 1996 D penny has one of those funky features, you might just have a gem on your hands. So, check the mint mark carefully, it should be a D, but if it's something a little off, like a missing D, you've got something worth investigating. Now, let's be real for a moment. I'm sure some of you have a drawer full of random pennies. I know I do. In fact, I had a similar experience once. A couple of years ago, I was digging through my old coin jar, because let's face it, we all have one of those, and I found a penny that looked a little off. It was a 1980 penny, not rare at all, but something about it caught my eye. I kept it just in case. Fast forward to when I took it to a local shop for an appraisal, and boom! Turns out it wasn't worth millions or anything, but it was still worth a lot more than I expected. Moral of the story: never underestimate your change jar. The moral of the story here is simple: never give up on your change. I know that sounds a little ridiculous, but trust me, people are out there making serious cash from old pennies. If you're like me and love a good treasure hunt, this is the kind of thing that keeps you coming back for more. Just don't go spending all your pennies trying to find the next big one. So, what's the deal with the $1.3 million valuation? Well, if you have a 1996 D penny that is graded at the highest level, we're talking a grade of MS67 or higher, you could see bids at auctions go through the roof. A coin like this is so rare that collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts for it. And the crazy part? People are still finding these coins, so if you've got one in your collection, it might just be time to get it appraised. Alright, here's where I wrap this up. The 1996 D Lincoln penny might seem like a common coin, but in the right condition and with the right features, it can be worth a fortune. So, next time you're sifting through your pennies, be sure to give each one a careful look. Who knows? That little penny might just change your life. But if you're passionate about finding rare coins and learning how to make the most of your collection, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a tip. I've got plenty more coin tips, tricks, and stories coming your way. Who knows what we'll find next? And remember, collecting coins isn't just about getting rich. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of learning, and maybe, just maybe, turning that pocket change into a small fortune. Hey there, coin collectors and curious minds. Imagine you're flipping through your spare change, looking for that one-in-a-million find, and boom! You spot a 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, and you think, could this really be worth a small fortune? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to tell you how this very penny could be worth $1.40 million. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny, $1.4 million? That's gotta be a mistake. But stick with me, because this isn't your average penny. This is a rare treasure that could seriously change your life. So, let's dive into how you can spot a 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny worth a fortune, what makes it so special, and maybe, just maybe, how you can turn your pocket change into a small gold mine. But first, if you love learning about valuable coins, hit that subscribe button, because trust me, you won't want to miss out on future tips on how to spot coins that could make you rich, alright? So what's the deal with this 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny? Here's the breakdown. The key thing to understand is that not all pennies are created equal. Most pennies from 1985 won't get you much more than face value, which is just 1 cent. But for those of you who've been collecting coins for a while or are just beginning your journey, there's something special about the 1985 D Mint Mark penny that sets it apart. You see, there was a minting error that happened in 1985, and that's where the magic lies. You can think of it like finding a hidden treasure in a pile of regular, everyday stuff. These pennies were mistakenly struck with a rare feature that makes them highly sought after by collectors. We're talking about pennies that are error-free, meaning there are no noticeable flaws, which can make all the difference in the value. But here's the kicker, condition matters big time. A regular 1985 D penny might not be worth much, but a flawless one in mint condition? Now we're talking. That's where the $1.4 million price tag comes into play. The combination of rarity, error-free status, and pristine condition makes these pennies incredibly valuable in the right market. Now, if you're still scratching your head thinking, how in the world do I even know if I have one of these pennies? I've got you covered. Let's take a closer look at some signs that could indicate you've stumbled upon a rare gem. First off, always check the mint mark. The 1985 D Mint mark is critical. You'll find it on the reverse side of the penny, just below Abraham Lincoln's statue. If the mint mark is there and the rest of the coin shows little to no wear, you might be in business. But here's the thing, condition is everything. If your penny is scratched up, worn down, or looks like it's been through a few too many rounds in the laundry, it's not going to be worth much. But if it's in top-notch condition, well, you might just have a future millionaire maker on your hands. I'll tell you a quick personal story. About 5 years ago, I was going through a box of old coins my grandma passed down to me. I'm talking about old coins, some from the 70s, some from the 80s, you know, nothing too special. But one day, I came across a 1985 D penny, and I just had to take a second look. It wasn't anything fancy at first glance, but I remembered reading about rare pennies before. I took it to my local coin shop, and guess what? The shop owner nearly fell out of his chair when he saw the condition it was in. It wasn't a $1.4 million penny, but he offered me a fair price, definitely more than I expected. And that's when I realized, condition really is king when it comes to coin value. Now, you might not find a $1.4 million penny overnight, wouldn't that be nice? But there's definitely a market out there for rare and error-free coins. So, don't toss those old pennies into the jar without a second thought. Take a moment, check for mint marks, and see if any of your coins might just be hiding their true value. So, what's the takeaway here? The 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny is more than just pocket change, it's potentially a golden ticket. But remember, not all pennies are worth a fortune. It's about the mint mark, the condition, and the rarity that can drive that price up to a staggering $1.4 million. Keep your eyes peeled, your magnifying glass ready, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next lucky one to find that hidden treasure. Before I go, I want to leave you with a little nugget of advice: don't let your pennies sit around gathering dust. They could be worth a lot more than you think. And if you want to stay up to date with the latest coin value trends, minting errors, and tips on how to spot those hidden gems, hit that subscribe button, because I've got plenty more valuable coin content coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay curious, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe your next penny is the one that'll make you a millionaire. Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below if you've ever found a coin that turned out to be more valuable than you thought. I'd love to hear your stories. This script gives a mix of humor, personal experience, and friendly, engaging advice, ensuring that viewers stay entertained while learning about valuable coins. Hey there, coin collectors, enthusiasts, and curious folks just trying to figure out how your pocket change can make you rich. Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Really? A penny can be worth how much? Well, buckle up because I've got some mind-blowing information for you today. We're diving into the world of the 2000 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard that right, a penny worth $1.50 million. I know, it sounds too crazy to be true, but trust me, we're about to break it down. And you know what? You might just look at your pennies a little differently after this video. You know, maybe you'll stop tossing them into the fountain wishing for good luck and start digging through that change jar with the hopes of finding a small fortune. Before we get into the nitty-gritty details, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was at a flea market, just minding my own business, sipping on some overpriced coffee and looking through a bin of random old coins. And guess what? I found a 1999 penny. Not a big deal, right? Wrong. Turns out, it was a rare error coin, and if I had just known what I had in my hands, I could have made a couple $1,000s. But hey, that's the world of coin collecting. Sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's about knowing what you're looking for. So let's dive into today's star, the 2000 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Alright, let's get into it. What's so special about this penny, you ask? To understand its value, we need to break it down. First off, a penny, in most cases, is not worth much. Heck, we toss them around like they're free. But, in the world of coin collecting, every detail matters, every tiny little nuance can skyrocket a penny's value. And this 2000 no-mint mark penny? Well, it's one of those quirks in the system that can really pay off if you're lucky enough to find one. So, let's get into why this penny can fetch as much as $1.5 million. Usually, coins are minted with a little letter on the front that tells you where they were made. If there's no mint mark, that's a rare thing, and in the case of this 2000 penny, it makes all the difference. Most pennies from 2000 were minted with a D4 Denver or P4 Philadelphia. But some, just a few, don't have any mint mark at all. This is the kind of thing that collectors go wild for. Here's the kicker: this penny was made during a year when the minting process was transitioning. The absence of the mint mark wasn't part of a grand design, nope, it was actually a mistake. These errors are what collectors want. They're super rare. And what makes the 2000 no-mint mark penny even more exciting is that it wasn't just a random mistake, it's one that didn't get caught until much later when people started finding them in their change. Now, I know you might be wondering, how can I tell if I have one? Great question. Let's get to the nuts and bolts here. It's actually pretty easy to spot a 2000 no-mint mark penny. First, check the front of the coin. Flip it over, and look at the "In God We Trust" inscription and the year. If there's no mint mark right under the date, congratulations! You've got something special on your hands. Now, keep in mind, condition matters. You won't get $1.5 million if it looks like it was dragged through a mud puddle. A clean, well-maintained coin will have a much higher value. So, if you find one of these rare beauties, take care of it, but don't get too excited just yet. Let's talk about the condition of these coins because that plays a huge role in how much they're worth. A 2000 no-mint mark penny that's in great condition can fetch up to $1.5 million at auction. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you've got one of these in pristine shape, you might be holding onto a little treasure. If it's worn down, it won't be worth as much, but you could still be looking at a few $100 or even $1,000. Not bad for a penny, right? Let's also talk about the market for these coins. You might be asking, who's buying these things? Well, it turns out there's a huge market for rare error coins. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for these types of mistakes because they're so unique. This is a niche market, and the people who are into it are willing to pay big bucks for something that only a few others have. If you think about it, that's what makes this whole coin collecting thing so exciting. There's always the chance that you've got a little piece of history in your hands, and just to give you some perspective, if you ever find one of these and decide to sell it, you're not just making a small profit. Some of these coins have gone for more than $1.5 million. But, of course, that depends on condition, rarity, and demand. There's always a little element of luck involved when it comes to these types of coin auctions. So, let me ask you, after all of that, do you feel like checking your change jar now? I know I would. Imagine discovering a 2000 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny just sitting there, waiting to be discovered. But let me also remind you, don't get too carried away. Not every 2000 penny is going to make you a millionaire. But knowing what to look for could be the difference between having some spare change or an unexpected payday. You never know what you might find in your pockets or in a random bin at a flea market. Before you go, I've got one last piece of advice for you. Coin collecting isn't just about the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of learning, and the excitement of finding something rare and unique. So, if you've got a love for coins or just want to make sure you're not tossing away something valuable, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm here to share tips, strategies, and everything you need to know to become a coin pro. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, drop a comment below and let me know if you've ever found a coin worth more than face value. Or if you've got any fun coin hunting stories to share, I'd love to hear them. Don't forget, your next big find could be in your pocket right now. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Worth how much? But trust me, we're talking about a coin here that can put a serious dent in your savings account if you've got the right one. That's right, I'm talking about the 1993 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, and believe it or not, it's worth up to a whopping $1.6 million. Yup, you heard that right. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just want to go dig through your pocket change or, hey, even check out your change jar, because who knows, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. But before we get into all that, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of our tips on hidden treasures in your coin collection. Alright, let's dive right in. The 1993 D Lincoln penny sounds pretty normal, doesn't it? I mean, it's just a penny from the early 90s. You've probably seen a ton of them floating around, and you might have even tossed one aside without a second thought. But here's the thing, not all pennies are created equal. In fact, some pennies, like the 1993 D-Mint Mark, can be worth way more than their face value. And I'm talking a lot more. Like, $1.6 million more. But how does a penny end up being worth that much? Well, let's break it down. First off, it's important to know that not every 1993 D penny is worth a fortune. That would be way too easy, right? What makes this particular penny stand out is something you probably wouldn't even notice at first glance: a small, subtle minting error. These errors can range from things like double dies, off-center strikes, and, in this case, a really rare and unusual mistake in the way the coin was stamped. It's this combination of factors that makes these pennies such valuable collector's items. But here's the kicker: finding one of these error coins is like finding a needle in a haystack. That's right. Imagine you're digging through a pile of pennies and, out of all those thousands of coins, you find the one that's worth $1.6 million. It's like winning the lottery, but with a penny. I mean, how crazy is that? So now, let me tell you a quick story about my own personal experience with coins. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, just looking for some cool vintage stuff, and I stumbled across a jar of old pennies. The guy selling them didn't know much about them. I thought, hey, maybe I'll get lucky and find something old or rare. So, I bought the jar for, I don't know, $5? I started sifting through the pennies, and after a while, I thought I'd found something interesting. But it wasn't a 1993 D, nope, not that lucky. It was just a regular old 1972 penny. And sure, it wasn't worth millions, but I did learn a valuable lesson that day: you never know what you've got until you look closely. Now, before you start diving headfirst into your collection of change, let's talk about how you can actually identify these rare 1993 D pennies. First, you'll want to check the mint mark. The mint mark is a small letter found near the bottom right of Lincoln's bust, just below the date. If it says D, you've got a coin minted in Denver. So far, so good. Next, you want to look for any signs of a minting error. With the 1993 D penny, you're specifically looking for double die errors, where the design is stamped more than once, or an off-center strike. These types of errors give the coin its distinctive look and make it super valuable. Trust me, if you find one, you'll know. It won't look like your average penny. Now, you're probably wondering, how can I tell if mine's worth $1.6 million or just 1 cent? Well, here's where things get a little tricky. It's all about condition and rarity. Coins that are in mint condition, like the 1993 D penny, are usually the ones that end up fetching crazy prices at auction. So, it's important to keep your coins safe and in good condition. If your penny is in excellent shape, you might want to get it graded by a professional, otherwise, you could miss out on its true value. Oh, and one more thing before we go, don't toss that penny just because you think it's just a penny. If you've got a jar of old coins sitting around collecting dust, take a few minutes to sort through them. You might just have a hidden gem in there. Alright, folks, here's the bottom line. That 1993 D Lincoln penny you've got sitting in your collection could be worth a lot more than you think, up to $1.6 million. But, of course, not every 1993 D is going to make you a millionaire, so it's important to know what to look for, how to properly grade and preserve your coins, and when to call in an expert. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've got tons of videos coming your way, packed with tips and tricks to help you uncover hidden treasures in your spare change. And hey, if you found a crazy valuable coin, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Hey there, coin collectors and curious folks. Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're someone who still has that jar of coins you've been meaning to sort through, I've got some exciting news for you. I bet you didn't know that you might be holding onto a small piece of history worth a whopping $1.7 million, and it's not a rare gold coin or an ancient artifact. Nope, it's a 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. Now, before you go running to your piggy bank, let's dive into what makes this coin so special, why it's worth so much, and what you should be looking for if you think you might have one of these beauties. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a new reason to stare at your change like it's a treasure chest. Alright, let's take a closer look at this penny from 1978. So, what's the deal? Why in the world is a 1978 penny, which is one of those coins you can still find in your pocket change, worth so much? To break it down, we've got to start with the no mint mark situation. If you're new to the world of coins, mint marks are those little letters on the coin that tell you where it was made, either in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. In 1978, most pennies had a D mint mark, meaning they were struck in Denver. But a few rare pennies were made in Philadelphia without the mint mark. These are the ones we're after. Now, why are these pennies worth so much? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny is rare, and with rarity comes demand. Back in the day, they were produced in smaller quantities, and for some reason, whether it was an accidental omission or a rare decision by the US Mint, it has become a hot commodity in the coin world. And here's the kicker: if you've ever taken a look at the condition of your pennies and thought, why do I still have this dirty, scratched up penny from 1978, you might want to reconsider. The value of this coin increases dramatically if it's in mint condition. The better the condition, the higher the value. We're talking $1.7 million for one in perfect, uncirculated condition. Now, let me hit you with a little relatable story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandma go through a jar of old coins. You know, the ones that have been sitting at the back of the cupboard, gathering dust. She was all, "Oh, those are just my spare pennies from the 70s. Well, guess what? I almost threw out a 1978 penny without thinking twice. Luckily, I stopped myself. Turns out, that little penny could have been worth a decent chunk of change. I'm talking about a lot more than what my grandma thought it was worth, haha. Moral of the story: never underestimate the power of a penny, people. So, how can you tell if you've got one of these rare pennies? Here are a few things to look for. If your penny is from 1978 and has no mint mark, you're off to a good start. A worn, dirty penny won't fetch you $1 million. You need one that's practically untouched, without any signs of wear or discoloration. If you're lucky enough to find one, get it authenticated. There are professional services that will verify its authenticity and condition. Trust me, it's worth the extra step to make sure you're holding a real gem and not just an old penny. Alright, so now you're probably wondering, how many of these rare pennies are actually out there? Well, that's where it gets interesting. The truth is, not many people know exactly how many 1978 no mint mark pennies exist. They weren't exactly cataloged properly, and the whole thing was kind of a mistake, which adds to the mystery and allure. But here's what we do know: these coins aren't exactly sitting around in every collection. They are hard to find, and that's what makes them so valuable. And while you might be thinking, but I don't have a 1978 no mint mark penny, do I just go out and buy one? The answer is, hold your horses. You're better off keeping your eyes peeled for one, rather than buying one, because, well, they're rare, and they could be hiding right in front of you. You might have a whole lot more change than you realize, so, what have we learned today? That little 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million if you've got one in top-notch condition. And hey, even if you don't, it's always worth going through your old pennies to make sure you're not tossing away a future fortune now. I know you're probably itching to go through that old jar of change right now. But before you go on a penny treasure hunt, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more insider tips on rare coins that could be worth big money. You don't want to miss out on videos like this, trust me. I'll keep sharing all the tips, tricks, and stories about how to spot those coins that are hiding in plain sight. And before I sign off, here's a quick challenge for you. Go ahead, dig through your change jar, and let me know in the comments if you find any rare coins. If you do, I'll shout you out in the next video. Happy hunting, and I'll see you next time, coin enthusiasts. Keep those pennies safe, because they could just be worth more than you think. Hey there, coin lovers. Have you ever stared at your spare change and thought, is there a fortune hiding in here? Well, I have some exciting news for you today. You might want to pull out the 2018 mint mark Lincoln penny you've got lying around because it could be worth a jaw-dropping $1 million. Yep, you heard me right, $1 million. Sounds crazy, right? But I promise you, this is no joke. Stick with me, and I'll explain why this seemingly ordinary penny could make you a fortune now. I know what you're thinking. How could a 2018 penny, something that I probably toss around or throw in the jar, possibly be worth that much? I've got the answers, and they're going to blow your mind. Before we dive into the details, grab a snack, maybe not some pennies, though, those are not edible, and let's get started, so let's get right into it. The 2018 mint mark Lincoln penny might not look like much on the surface. I mean, it's just a regular penny with Abraham Lincoln's face and a coppery finish, right? But here's the twist: this penny is one of a kind. There's something special about it that makes it so valuable. You see, over the years, certain coin varieties have been known to be rarer than others, and sometimes even a small detail can make all the difference. In 2018, the Denver Mint, responsible for stamping those shiny pennies, produced a batch of pennies that, due to a rare production error, ended up being super valuable. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, what error? It looks like my regular old change. That's exactly the point: you might never know you're holding a treasure until you take a closer look. That's why coin collectors and experts are constantly on the hunt for these unique finds. The error? Well, it's a misstrike in the design, and it's so rare that collectors are willing to pay serious money for it, and don't think that finding one of these is a walk in the park either. I mean, you're not going to just find one by flipping through the couch cushions or scraping change off the sidewalk. No, these pennies are very hard to come by, which makes them highly sought after. In fact, most people who stumble upon these don't even realize the value they're holding. I mean, think about it: how many of us have seen a penny and tossed it into the change jar without a second thought? Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, just casually poking through dusty old boxes of random stuff, hoping to find a hidden gem. And while I was flipping through some old books, I found a jar of pennies. I took a look, and honestly, I almost passed on it, but something made me take a second glance. As I dug deeper into the jar, I found a coin I had never seen before, a 1943 copper penny. It wasn't in the best shape, but I could tell it was something special. Long story short, I had it appraised and found out it was worth thousands. Now, I'm not saying this 2018 mint mark penny is going to be the same thing, but it's a reminder: don't judge a coin by its cover, or by how dirty it is. But enough about my yard sale adventures. Back to the 2018 penny. To make sure you don't miss out on your potential gold mine, here's what you need to do. Look closely at the mint mark. You'll see that little D stamped on the front of the coin, right below Lincoln's shoulder. This mint mark shows it was struck at the Denver Mint. Now, What makes this specific 2018 D penny worth $1 million is that there were some rare circumstances around its production that caused the coins to have a unique design error, which drastically increases their value. But how do you know if you have one of these? Well, it's all about the small details. Check for any signs of misalignment or irregularities in the design. These little imperfections could be the key to unlocking a huge payday. And I'll be honest, you're not going to spot it right away, but with a magnifying glass or a good set of coin inspection tools, you'll be able to see what you're working with. So, get up, grab your 2018 D pennies, and give them a good once-over. Alright, now that we've gone over the details, let me leave you with this. You never know where your next big break is hiding. It could be sitting in a jar of change, just waiting for you to discover it. But here's the thing, if you want to stay ahead of the curve and spot more pennies, dimes, or quarters that could be worth a fortune, you've got to stay informed. That's where I come in. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2018 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny and want more tips and tricks on finding coins worth big money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got tons of other videos coming your way on coins that could change your life. And trust me, there's no shortage of valuable coins out there. The world of numismatics is full of hidden gems waiting to be discovered. So, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more coin hunting tips, strategies, and fun stories. And if you've got any coins you think might be worth a fortune, drop a comment below and share your finds with the community. We love hearing about your discoveries. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and as always, keep hunting those rare coins. You never know what's out there just waiting to be found. See you in the next one, and remember, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what we've got in store next.